lock more fully, all the way through. And as that happens, go ahead, try and lift one of those fingers, even two of those fingers. Find your palm sticks even more as you try and lift your fingers, your palm sticks even more. So I'm drawing attention to sticking and locking, and there's a reason for this. Some people might not respond to the concept of being stuck. It doesn't make sense their hand can be stuck, but if their fingers are solid and locked and their arms solid and locked, then that might make more sense to them. So I'm going belt and braces there when I go stuck and locked. I'm also saying an as that happens. So there's that as that happens, and that very bit of language presupposes that it is happening for them, and if they keep flowing along, it reinforces that it's happening. Now I've set up this little confusion bit and say they stick and lock more, and notice what happens when you try and lift those fingers and find that your palm sticks more. So I'm tying that in with a little kind of confusional thing, a little loop where they can get caught in that mini loop, where when they try and lift the fingers, the palm gets stuck more, and I'll do it when they try and lift the palm, the fingers get stuck more. So they're kind of caught in this bind where whatever they do, something else is sticking even more, reinforcing that whole concept, reinforcing that whole reality more. Go ahead, try and lift one of those fingers, even two of those fingers. Find your palm sticks even more as you try and lift your fingers, your palm sticks even more. Really try and lift one of those fingers. What's more stuck now? The fingers at the palms?
The palm stuck as well. Yeah.
The palm stuck as well. Okay, here's the interesting thing. What I want you to do is try and lift that hand. So I've asked that binding question again, what's more stuck, your fingers or your palm? And this time he said the palm stuck. And again, I've repeated his observation back, the palm stuck, reinforcing that observation for him. So it's a feedback loop going on between me and him. It's not just me talking at him and him being passive. We're both active and participating in this, in this whole hypnotic loop, in this whole moment of altering his reality and perception. What I'm going to move on to do now is, I'm going to point this thing out. You know, some saying it's interesting or it's an interesting thing. Sometimes I say this, it's an interesting thing or an interesting thing has just happened. And I want to get them thinking in their mind, what's interesting? Because when you raise something like that and they're thinking in their mind, what's interesting? You've created a little moment of expectancy. And when you create little moments of expectancy, people are much more wide open to responding at that point. So if you say, you know, an interesting thing's just happened. Orman McGill talks about this. He says, you know, an interesting thing's just happened. What's that? Your name has just completely disappeared from your mind now. When you try and say it, what happens when your name's gone? And that moment of created expectancy opens somebody up. What? And then you can feed in. So I use that a lot. Here's an interesting thing, or the interesting thing is. I use that little bit a lot. Now I'm going to transition now. I know that he's in the loop now, so I'm going to start challenging a lot harder. What I want you to do is try and lift that hand, find it just sticks more fully, locks more fully, it sticks and pushes to the table. The harder you try and lift it more, it just sticks and locks. Really try, because you're a strong guy, you can really try and lift that. Really try and lift that, find it sticks more. I'm challenging a lot harder now, but notice when you watch this back through, or when you watch the unedited portion, notice how I built to this strong challenge. I didn't just give a suggestion and jump in with a strong challenge. I drew him into the loop and I've led up to a strong challenge. Just a couple of points here. I'm clicking my fingers, so I'm clicking my fingers as I'm going locks more fully, sticks more fully. I'm clicking the fingers. Now the finger click is an interesting thing. A lot of hypnotists use it. I use it to create a moment. I do magic, and I do this in magic as well. It creates a little moment in time when you click your fingers when something's happened. So that sticking and locking, I want to tie to that moment so it steps up incrementally. And I'm challenging in that classic way. Try and lift it and find that you can't. Most people know about that try. Try presupposes at least a possibility of failure, a strong possibility, particularly when you emphasize. Listen to the tonality. I'm emphasizing try, putting that struggle into my voice as I do it. And then here I'm issuing a strong challenge, which is you're a strong guy. I got this from Anthony Jacquin, so thank you, Anthony. I hope you don't mind me using it here. And I think that's really great. It's when you know and you can really see it happening. You kind of see it on the video, but when I was there I could see the muscles vibrating as he's trying to lift his hand. So I'm going in for the strong challenge at this point. What's that like as that sticks now?
It's strange.
Strange. Notice that strange. Continue. Now this is a small example of something I do a lot. It's not the best example. I've said, what's that like for you when that sticks more? And he said strange, and I've repeated strange back to him. And then I've said, notice how that strange can continue. Because I'm doing eyes open, waking stuff, I often ask questions. I want to ask what their experience is like, and they will give me words to describe it. What's that like? You can see on the original video where I'm doing the card stick with the girl, and she describes it as stiff and statue-like when I ask what's that like. I want to get their description of their experience, and when I do, I'm going to feed it right back to them. I'm going to feed their own description right back to them, because I know there are no words like their own that are going to draw them strongly into a reality. So I'm often asking that question, what's that like for you? If somebody says strange, I will say, feel that strange spreading now. I don't know what that strange refers to, but they know exactly what the sensation refers to, so I can generalise it out. So I'll often do that. I recommend you do that. Literally ask them for their experience. What's that like for you? Give them the exact same words back. It's a great tool. It's very powerful.
Strange. Notice that strange. Are you in a trance or anything? Or you're completely awake and they're stuck fully. Can't you try? How can you try? Just sticks on. That's the interesting thing.
So I'm asking, you're completely awake, and getting a yes, and part of that is because I know this is up for this video, and I want to make that point that this guy's not in a trance, and he's not in a trance. I know people have been debating and saying, oh yeah, but what you're doing is trance, but it's trance with eyes open. I don't want to get into the philosophy of it. I will deal with that issue in other places. I've already started talking about it on some of the forums, but right here I'm talking, I'm chatting, I'm getting an interaction going, and the information that's coming off, I'm rolling back. Go back, notice how with the language I roll from what seems to be a conversation sort of seamlessly into another suggestion set to reinforce what's going on. So there's a lot of linkage words, and notice as you, and as that happens, and while you, and it just links conversationally from that little bit of a chat that we've just had into reinforcing the reality, a little seamless sort of segue. I hope it's seamless. It's intended to be that way.
That's the interesting thing. Now, in a moment, I'm going to touch on the back.
Okay, so that's the end of the video. That's a quick run through. At some point I'm going to transcribe this up and actually do a written breakdown of it, which will be easier for me to do. I haven't covered all the detail in there. I haven't covered all the subtleties in there. It would be impossible to do so in such a short video. I hope the points that I have covered will be useful to you. I hope you'll bear them in mind. Go back with those points in mind, look through the video again, and look through part 1, the unedited video as well. And start noticing a bit of what's happening. Thank you very much for watching this. I hope it's been useful to you. Please, again, I welcome your comments and I welcome your feedback. Thank you.